Hi, I'm Maria and this is the Agile State of Mind. Welcome! How to scale Agile? That is a question a lot of you is asking me recently. I was thinking, why don't I make a video about it and explain how to scale Agile or Scrum, because in many cases we work on Scrum or Kanban, and how to make sure that if we have multiple teams working on the same product, that they are aligned and their dependencies are resolved. All of that leads to what is Scrum of Scrums and how to do it. Let's dive into it. Who has the luxury of having in-person meetings in this day and age? Not me, at least. Today we're going to talk about Scrum of Scrums and how I do it. We will use Miro. And today's episode is sponsored by Miro, my favorite digital whiteboard that can help you take remote collaboration to the next level. If you want to see my video on how to run a retrospective with Miro, check it out here. So you probably heard a lot about Save, Less, Nexus, Scrum of Scrum, Scaled Agile, Scaled Scrum, Kanban, I don't know what. Basically, there are a lot of frameworks to scale other frameworks that we use if we don't scale, right? And how to make sense of it? It depends on the company, it depends on the management, mostly on the management, what they know, just not to struggle too much. Each of those we use a Scrum of Scrum. And that's the main event that helps teams to collaborate. I struggled a lot with this and I'm actually surprised I haven't recorded a video about it before because I just couldn't find any help on the internet. Everything was so theoretical that I couldn't just imagine how to actually do it in practice. That's why I'm here today and I will tell you how to do it in practice, what it means, and to debunk some of the myths around it and the big scary thing that it might be. Just explain how I did it. And I did some iterations over and over again and I ended up doing it in Miro. So it's perfect. I will just explain how I did it. And today Miro helps you so much because they have a lot of templates that you can just use. So as I said, I couldn't find the acceptable answer for what is a Scrum of Scrums 2 years ago. So this time I decided to use a modern solution and I used ChatGPT, the OpenAI solution, and I asked it, what is a Scrum of Scrums? And here is the response. Scrum of Scrums is a method for scaling agile development to large, complex projects. In a Scrum of Scrums SOS process, representatives from each Scrum team, typically the team Scrum Master, meet regularly to discuss progress, coordinate work, and identify and resolve dependencies and issues. The goal of a Scrum of Scrums is to enable teams to work together effectively while still maintaining their independence and flexibility. What I like about this answer is that, first of all, it's not a meeting run for me or run by me or where I coordinate as a facilitator. At the beginning, it feels like it because, of course, it's new for everyone. Nobody knows how to behave, so they expect somehow a push. And it's okay. But it's just not a meeting where you come and if you don't go, it won't happen. At the beginning, it will be like that, of course. But the goal is that we enable people to collaborate and we facilitate the communication and collaboration. It's not that without me, they won't ever talk to each other, right? So this is very important. And that's why I really like this answer. So that's it. You don't have to now spend your time waiting and reading different guides to understand what it is all about. Now let's see how to do it practically. And by the way, you don't need to do Scrum to do Scrum of Scrums. You can easily do Kanban or just do something, not even Agile, and still take a benefit of doing Scrum of Scrums. So in the simplest way explained, Scrum of Scrums is a meeting held usually on a weekly basis where the teams that work on the same product, project, initiative, however you call it, come together and share their work. So they coordinate on a weekly basis. They, of course, should coordinate every day and they should just not need this meeting. But sometimes it's good to share some milestones, share some bigger issues that were found, and coordinate about the release, because ultimately all of those teams will release together a working piece of a product. So on the meeting, you would usually see some representatives of all the teams. It might be the Scrum Master, it might be the PO, it might be the team lead, depending on the complexity, the company, and so on. And also you will see some stakeholders. So important stakeholders who can provide something to the meeting and take something from the meetings. As you see, it already gets big if you have so many people, but rest assured, we will get to the point that it will get easy and clean and smooth. So let's see. So if you do your first meeting, I would spend some time on icebreaker. Usually people don't really know each other. They need to start working together and we want them to create some kind of bond. Icebreaker takes time, so you don't want to do it every time if it's a recurrent weekly meeting. I would use an icebreaker only for the first meeting or for a meeting where new people join in, so they feel acknowledged and welcome. So let's see how it works with Miro. As you see, I have here an icebreaker because remote meetings don't have to be boring. So how do you do that? I haven't used Miro for a while. I was using something else at my work and I'm very happy to be back with Miro because it's so much more intuitive. And what I really like, there's something called Miroverse. So if you create something really, really cool in Miro and you want to create a template out of it, you can do it. And as you see, if I want to put here icebreaker, I can actually choose from different icebreakers, not only the ones that Miro created, but also the ones from real people, companies like Deloitte. Let's start with this one. So what was your favorite childhood movie? And I already prepared here. You can add photos, scribble. Of course, my favorite childhood movie was Dumb and Dumber. I am already laughing. It's just so funny and I love the faces both of them make and the way they act. It's just so much fun. What I also like about Miro, and that's something new that wasn't here before, is that you can now choose and you can use a mouse. I don't know if any other tool can actually give you that opportunity. So you can have either auto switch, so depending whether you use trackpad or mouse, it can work. But I really like that I can use mouse because usually I was just having my mouse here, but using my trackpad to zoom in, zoom out. And now I can just use my mouse. You can always zoom out here by using those zoom in and out, but you can also do it with the mouse. And it's so easy. And you press the right button and you move on the board. Awesome. So this is where we start. It's also important to have a time box for the icebreaker because it can get out of hand. To explain how you will do it, so basically get to know how you will do it, the agenda, and how to use Miro if they haven't used it before. It's important because people feel really acknowledged. You know, if you let people know, you hear them, you see them, it's not like, oh, hello, let's talk, who goes first? Like, nobody will feel comfortable. And you know, this meeting with so many different people, first of all, it's very costly for the company, and second of all, it's the most important meeting of all, because you will find out stuff there that is making or breaking the release, the milestone, the demo that you committed to delivering. So as a Scrum Master, but anybody from the company really, you can take 10 out of 10 value of this meeting if you do it properly. 3. The agenda, the lean coffee format. I love a collaborative agenda for the meeting, and I will explain you why. So at the beginning, we could do a round, but only achievements and only important plans for the next week. Nothing that is about what you did, like descriptive meetings, whatever you did. Nobody cares. If they don't care, they don't care, right? So if they are not involved, they won't care. And you have your dailies with your team, work on them there. Here we only bring to the table stuff that is shared, relatable for others. So what we want to see here is we can do this small round at the beginning to also wake up, warm up everybody. If you have nothing to say, just please say nothing to say and move on. After that, what I really like to do is I would like to ask people if they have any problems, topics to talk about. So sometimes what we do on a daily meeting is we have walking the board, right? So we go over everything that's open. This could be also, if you have a board, that would be the perfect place to do it, like board of epics, for example. You could also do that. But usually people don't maintain epics in the same level of update, and that's okay. So we'll do whatever you like at the beginning, but then create this kind of parking lot. So topics that we want to spend some time talking about because they are important. So everybody can bring a topic, and that's why it's important to leave the agenda open for the team before the meeting and send like a reminder email. And this way they will add it themselves, and this way you are also enabling them to collaborate. You are not bringing the topics of the agenda, right? I will show you now how to do it in Miro and how easy it is, because there is a template now. When I was doing it, there was no template. I had to do it myself. Let's see what they have when it comes to lean coffee. Do you know the lean coffee? You can check here. I have a video about using lean coffee format for remote meetings and especially for sprint review. You can use it in different ways. It can ask you whether you want pre-filled. I will use blank template. I really like this open agenda one because there for sure can be some agenda points that you want to repeat. But after that, many different people can bring their own topics. You know how meetings are. The people that shout the loudest have the most voice, and we want to avoid that. Capture and prioritize topics. Use 8 minutes. Discuss topics, 8 minutes per topic. Share learnings, 5 minutes. So let's say in the morning of the same day, you send a reminder email to people and say, hey, we have this meeting today. Please add your topics. Even though that happened, I would usually give 5 minutes. Put the topics here. Everybody has their agenda, but we have just a limited time to go over it. So vote on the topics. And you can use the voting from Miro. So it's so much better to start with the most important topics for everyone than just the ones that somebody is very stressed about and it's just important for 2 people. Then the topics here according to the votes they got. So we move them here. I would just delete those and say, okay, let's talk about this. Who wants to start? And they start talking. When we finish, we can have infinite list of stuff that we talked about. I would customize this board. I would move action items here because those lists can get really long, especially if that meeting is there for a quarter, let's say. Okay, this has been discussed with the action item. They need to follow up after the meeting, right? So it's important to write the follow-up here. And then on the next meeting, we would start from the action items that have been from the previous meeting. Command D, action items, once they get done, we can also move them here. I am customizing this meeting for recurrency. And that's all for today. I hope this video will help you to run your Scrum of Scrums, understand that in the end scaling Scrum is about alignment. Doesn't matter what framework you use, it just matters to collaborate, enable the teams to work together. In the end, I hope that everybody will enjoy the meeting and you, the company, and all the participants will get the most value out of your weekly meeting. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.